Do you have a dream that you want to turn into a reality, but feel stuck and confused how to finally make it happen? Then this video is for you. And in this video, I'm going to share the one thing that I learned that unlocked all of the possibilities for why I was stuck and helped me move past that to take action to literally bring my dream into fruition. So first I'm going to talk about what's going on when we're stuck. So we have a dream, and that dream is emanating from a passion, something that you get excited about when you imagine it. It's probably been something that's been with you for a long time, maybe even years. But when you think about it, you just start hearing that sort of self-critical, judgmental self-talk. All the reasons why it's not practical, logical, reasonable, and possible. What's happening is that's another part or parts of you, because it's scary to consider making a big change. And if we've got a big dream, it's probably something that's going to involve some really significant changes in our life. So we are hardwired for survival. So we have parts of us, when you get anxious and doubtful and you don't feel the confident and the inspired energy that you do when you're in your passion of imagining your dream, its purpose in one way is to shut that down, because change is scary, change is uncertain. So what do we do about that? Fighting against it doesn't usually help. If you're anything like me, you have tried that. I would try and try to ignore that, talk myself out of it, all the things. I would listen to all the positivity that I could get my hands on. I would listen to stories of people who went from point A to point B. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool that they did that. And then when it came to me, there was just all this doubt. So the one thing that I figured out that got me through and beyond that point to make the big change I wanted to make was to recognize I have a higher self, a true self, soul. People call it different things. This essence that I now know and feel to be the true me. Its qualities are compassion, courage, curiosity. And when I am in the flow of that energy, I feel confident. I can be more persistent in hanging in there with what my passion is. And then identifying the one next step in that direction to bring that to fruition. And when we're in that self-energy, the other parts that are fearful and doubting, judging, all of those things, they're there as a voice of some kind. They run off of beliefs that we can't do it, that we're not smart enough or special enough or unique enough or skilled enough or whatever it is. But when I started to experience my true self energy, I could, through some spaciousness from those parts that were saying all these things, then I had a new experience. It was like a different level of consciousness of all that I truly am. Any of you who maybe meditate or have a sense with regard to your spirituality, whatever that is, that there's a bigger picture. We are part of something bigger. The parts of us that are scared do not know that there is more than just what they are. They are just designed to keep us safe, which means often keeping us small, keeping us in the familiar. And then the parts of us that are passionate and even get frustrated because, if you're like, I know I'm meant to experience and do and create this other thing in my life. But because the other parts are scared, it keeps getting shut down. And a lot of the advice out there would be to just ignore that. Ignore those voices. All of that self-talk. I don't know about you. I tried that. It didn't work. Short term it would work, but then what would happen is I would take a bigger step than what these parts were ready for, and then sabotage, shut down. I couldn't sustain it. And when I finally figured out through the teachings of other people, talking about parts work, internal family systems, higher self, soul energy, connected to divine, that we're so much more than this physical experience and being in this body. The body's a part of us, but it isn't the self, is what I have figured out. And you can take or leave any of this. But when I found success and started to see the shifts, because I would access my higher self more and more, then I would go and listen and be there with these parts, and kind of like in a partnership, but being led by self. It's not a democracy. Don't take a vote on, hey, who's going to let me move forward towards my dream? I get to be the leader as true self in the self energy. But it's not a pushy, domineering energy. It's, hey, fear part, I'm here as yourself, and we can help these parts relax on their job of bringing in so much fear. Because they're young. They go back to a younger, earlier time in life. And we have all this doubt, and then some, and then we bring it into adulthood. And so what I found is I love to learn from other people and listening to their inspiring stories, and they would share about their journey. And the common piece was some version of higher self energy that they were accessing. They were getting ideas that they never had thought of before. So often when we're trying to solve our problems, like when I was searching for a solution, I would listen to someone and be like, oh, their experience, that worked for them. That's the key for me. A lot of times it wasn't. So what I'm now sharing and mentoring people in is when I say, this is what worked for me, it's not, there's 5 steps and these 5 steps you got to do. It's really one main step of learning to tune in. And there's some nuances sometimes about being able to get quiet so you can connect and hear your higher self's guidance. And that can be a bit of a process for people. But when you're able to access that self energy, and you can do it, if you need some support, I'm here, but you can do it. Then you go beyond the doubt. You go beyond shame or guilt or believing you don't deserve, that you're unworthy. None of that stuff's our truth. But we believe it is, because that feels like who we are. That used to run so much for me. The anxiety and the self-doubt and all of that I just stayed in what was familiar and was convinced I couldn't do it. And I believed it until I got some space from it. And then more and more, it's becoming a new truth for me. It is so powerful, so joyful, not always easy in the journey, but what you truly desire for your life, any idea, vision that you want to come to fruition that excites you, is here for you for some reason. And all we need to do is take the next step towards that dream. The parts of us want to plan it out, and if it doesn't look like we can succeed, we do nothing. One of the pieces of advice beyond that one main piece of get connected with your higher self is, what's the one next step for my highest good? Lots of questions you can ask of yourself to get that clarity. But the mind and the parts are going to keep you with what's logical, rational, what is likely to succeed, all to avoid. And what do they want to avoid? Failure, the discomfort that would come with that, and often success. We can be afraid of our own power. So if any of this resonates for you, I invite you to either begin a practice of connecting with yourself. I like to use heart coherence and breath. Sometimes I use some guided visualizations. I've created some too, as well as others. And you just begin to be in that space and connect with all that you truly are, going beyond those voices, that critical self-talk, into the real you. For those of you who already are familiar with this higher self essence, expanding on this practice, and we don't have to do it alone. This is why I love to make videos. I love to help people one-on-one. And so reach out with questions. Comment if you've tried it. Let's inspire each other. We are not alone. We don't have to figure anything out. We can follow our loving guidance in the most inspired way when we get beyond all of our fear and self-doubt. So thank you for listening, and please reach out with any questions or to book a one-on-one consult or session with me. Thanks so much.